Okay, so I'm Ian Monroe, and today I'll be talking about Telepathy, which is a real-time communication framework, or basically instant messaging and phone calls and that sort of thing. I think kind of fits in a lot with what Frank was talking with the making our desktop more social. This is kind of the, I think, should be the real-time communication part of that. So I think most of us heard of the Unix way: do one thing, do it well. The idea that each application will do its one thing. So, I'm going to write an instant messaging application. So that's one thing, right? But there's actually, you have to use the interface and then the protocols, and then do 6 things. You have to do all the different protocols. It's actually, the UI is pretty complicated. There's all these different things going on. Do 12 things to do it well, all these more features you need. So what's the solution? Telepathy. Hey. Hey. So pretty much the big idea is to move away from a monolithic client. And as you see, for some use cases, it's actually a requirement. It's not just making the design more friendly or something. You have to split stuff into separate processes, run protocols as a service, kind of in the standard dbus way, and create a standard API for clients to use for presence messaging, doing VoIP and that sort of stuff. So just to define things, dbus, I think probably most of us know, is the inter-process communication protocol for 2 different applications to talk to each other on Linux. It's used throughout KDE and Linux, and it's organized into this pretty complicated hierarchy of objects which have interfaces and stuff. So I'm just going to go over kind of I'm not going to do an API review or anything, don't worry, but just kind of a general overview of how telepathy works. So you have, for the connections, you have this connection manager. So the green box is an actual process. It offers over dbus different services like chat, voice, even something like VNC that could run over the instant messaging server. So the idea is that each connection, each account has its own connection manager. So if you have 3 Jabber accounts, you're going to have 3 processes. So connections, they provide over dbus these interfaces for presence, aliases, for instance, avatars, and they give you the channel object. So channels, they have types. You have a text channel for your standard instant messaging. You have even the user list as a channel, VoIP, and then the channels, for depending on their type, have different methods and signals, so sending text, receiving text. So what are the benefits of all this? Splitting this out, why are we doing this? So different components can do only one thing if they want to. For instance, on the N900, which uses telepathy, the address book is separate from the messaging application. So in the case of N900, it's not even really an option to have the monolithic IM client. For a phone, you really don't want to have to always have the phone application open to receive a phone call. You need to have all this stuff be separate. Whereas like on the desktop, the GNOME IM client Empathy, which uses telepathy, it does more or less everything, the UI side. And again, just kind of as far as debugging and that sort of stuff is concerned, it is rather handy to have everything separate in the different processes. Each thing can be tested separately. Okay, so another advantage is we can have, since telepathy is all back-end stuff, we can have the same connection managers on GNOME, KDE, on your phone, and they fit well in the environment because they're not providing any UI. The actual clients of telepathy provide the UI. So there's interchangeable user interfaces. So this provides a real benefit for KDE because we can get a lot of the benefits from telepathy, and we don't have to rewrite everything all over again. Most of everything I'm talking about so far has already been done. So we just have to use it if we want to. Okay, so another advantage is component independence. For instance, the Jabber client uses C The MSN client uses Python. You can have different licensing because they're running in different processes. So on the N900, you have Skype support, and that uses, so that's proprietary, whereas the Jabber client is LGPL. So there's all sorts of protocols that are supported. Some of it's kind of cheating. It uses libpurple for some of this, but for Jabber, MSN, SIP, it uses its own connection manager. So another important component is mission control. So this is when something has to decide who's going to do what. And this process handles user account management, going on and offline, actually requesting, deciding which process is going to handle which channel, and activating those channel handlers. So just make it clear, that you probably all heard of Decibel, kind of the perennial project, but it's basically, that was going to be like a KDE implementation of mission control, but really we get some little kinks worked out with mission control and we can use it. There's really no reason not to. So I just want to kind of run through using MAMO, because in MAMO everything is all separate, so it's pretty easy to see how the different telepathy parts work. So you turn on your availability to online, and so mission controls, it starts mission control, and it goes and in turn talks to all your connection managers and tells them to go online. And so now we're online, and now someone says hi to us. So the connection manager tells mission control, I just received a message, a text channel. Mission control talks to a logger, get that message logged. It creates a direct connection to the connection manager. Talk to something called the approver, which creates a notification on the N900 when you receive an SMS or a phone call or whatever. It pops up a little thing for you to take it. So it pops up, the user says, yes, I do want to chat with that person. Notification UI tells mission control that it's been accepted. Mission control opens up the handler, which in this case is the standard IM client type thing. And it connects directly to connection manager. Okay, so that's basically how telepathy works. So now I want to talk a little bit about what the future is for KDE in telepathy. Recently, like in the past year and a half or so, there's been development of Telepathy Qt 4. It is a very new API, and it's released an ABI stable version, but probably the next version, which it's still pretty heavily under development. And it pretty much makes adding telepathy to any KDE app pretty straightforward, because you don't have to deal with a dbus or anything. It is a pretty low-level API, but it's still, as far as adding IM to your application, it makes it far more trivial than having to write protocol stuff. So KDE still lacks the full stack, because really telepathy Qt 4 is really just developed. So as far as we don't have our version of empathy, but it's being worked on. And so the goal is to enable IM features in all sorts of applications that currently don't have it, because it's not practical. So what this would take, account management UI, this has actually been mostly done. So that's like a way to add accounts and delete accounts. Presence setting, this is actually also done too. There's a Plasmoid that can do this. Then you need all those other things that we saw, like on the MAML application, in the MAML screenshots. You need an approver. So that would be like a notification pop-up. You need the IM app of some sort. So I also want to talk a little bit about a plan personally of mine.
Ian?
Yeah.
There's one I'd like to add. If you can write a logger that dumps this stuff into Akamai, you get full index searching, you get tagging, you get all the stuff that we have in there. So I think that would be really natural to just log it.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's kind of the direction they're going towards, using Nepomuk to actually save the contact list, telepathy to Nepomuk type downloader, and kind of getting all that, working with the rest of the KDE infrastructure. but kind of a plan for mine for something that could be a little bit more quick and dirty is to, like, personally, basically drop the buddy list. Personally, like, I have tons of people on my IM client list that I really never talk to, but maybe at some point in the future I will want to talk to them, so I keep them on there. So my idea is to, instead of having a buddy list, you just have your shortcuts to your actual real friends that you actually talk to. So in my case, there'd be about 4 people that I actually initiate IM contacts with regularly, and then just have a text filter for the rest.
What kind of a shortcut then? What kind of UI? Would you have a iOS label or something?
Well, the idea is just to be plasmoids, basically. I'm not really sure how the filter would work, but basically you would just have plasmoid for each contact. You'd have a data engine to provide the presence information about all your contacts. I've already written a telepathy to Qt script API, so I was planning to write the plasmoids and the data engine in Qt script. So this is just kind of, so look out for this. Like you're saying, we probably the real solution should be most people do use like the buddy list, so we should probably still have a buddy list and that sort of thing. But so where to start if you want to get involved in telepathy? There's a telepathy book that provides kind of general, more high-level look of telepathy. There's the actual nitty-gritty telepathy specification, the debug specification. That's still sometimes handy to understand what exactly it's doing. And the KDE telepathy project. Of course, we have a tech-based page and a community page and an IRC channel. So if you want to get involved, you can. Any questions?
So, I know I was involved in telepathy on KDE before you started to collaborate, when it was still kind of competing or part of Decibel. So what has happened to the problems with mission control that caused Decibel to...
Well, I think one of the issues is, the main issue is the saving passwords. And
it's all very monolithic and very node-centric in the mission control binary at that time.
I mean, it uses glib, but as far as I understand it, none of the dependencies are that onerous. It's mostly stuff you already have installed, even if you don't have GNOME installed.
So is it saving configuration in gconf?
I'm not sure.
I think the two things, the sticking points that I remember were that you want to be able to save your accounts.
And K-Wallet, yeah.
Yeah, your passwords in K-Wallet and your accounts in some central KDE store so that other KDE apps will be able to access.
You don't really need to have other KDE apps access the configuration of your accounts.
Well, you might want to have your Google account stored in one place. You don't have to re-enter your Google account password.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe there is more that needs to be done on the mission control side, but I think rewriting mission control isn't the way to do that.
No, I
yeah.
agree with that, but I wonder are there abstractions so that you can...
Yeah. I mean, we really do need a cross-desktop way to save passwords. Everyone talks about it, but I don't know what the status of that is.
And who is currently working on KDE on telepathy?
One of my coworkers, George. Yeah, he was at the last Nepomuk sprint talking about how getting telepathy contacts into Nepomuk storage. Any other questions? Okay. Lunchtime? Okay. Thank you.